It is necessary to be a fox to discover the snares, and a lion to terrify the wolves. You were told that good hearts rise like cream, that if you're honest, patient and fair, doors will open because people will see your light. But step into any real arena office, boardroom, courtroom, dating app, family inheritance, and the pattern repeats. The softest voice gets thanked, the sharpest player gets paid, the applause lands on virtue, the outcomes land with leverage. Here is the lie you were sold. Morality decides the winner. It doesn't. Timing does. Nerve does. Information does. The person who moves first with certainty, who hides a blade behind a smile, who waits out a storm while you panic, that person takes the prize. Not because they are better, but because they are willing to do what the rules pretend doesn't happen. Look at your own history. You played fair, and someone with less talent leapfrogged you. You told the truth, and the room rewarded the storyteller. You loved loyally, and the charmer who knew how to stay scarce became the obsession. This is not proof that goodness is worthless. It is proof that goodness without power is theater, and theaters run for the audience, not the actors. What is winning? Remove the sugar. Winning is securing the outcome you choose. Position, pay, partnership, reputation on your timeline. It is a promotion with your name on it. The deal was signed at your number. The partner who chooses you when alternatives exist. The narrative that frames you as competent and necessary, not compliments. I don't like it, not the label of nice person. Results. If your target is applause, you will perform. You will become readable, safe, easy to place. You will collect warm words and cold outcomes. But if your target is results, your questions change. What leverage do I have? What can I trade? What must be concealed? When do I speak? And when do I let silence work? You stop asking to be seen and start arranging what will be seen. Here is the Machiavellian frame. The world is not a courtroom, it is weather. Two forces rule it, virtù and fortuna. Virtù is your capacity, skill, will, preparation, the discipline to make the move when it burns. Fortuna is a chance, the flood, the rumor, the algorithm, the boss's mood. You cannot control the flood, but you can raise the ground. You cannot pick the rumor, but you can choose what evidence exists when it lands. The image matters. Men judge more by the eye than by the hand, so you wear the mask that suits the moment. Appear gentle while you negotiate hard. Appear flexible while you set the terms. Keep your record clean while dirty work attaches to processes, not your name. Reputation is armor. Brand is a sheath. The sword stays hidden until the opening appears. Now, the animals. The lion and the fox are not myths, they are tools. Be a lion when speed and force decide the field, when a competitor hesitates, when a rumor threatens your standing, when a boundary is tested. Strike once, clearly, and be done. Be a fox when the terrain is traps politics at work, fragile egos, shifting alliances. Smile, ask the extra question. Delay the meeting until the numbers favor you. Let others announce what you arranged. In practice, this looks ordinary. You document value quietly before the review cycle. You cultivate options before the breakup or the raise. You mentor the ambitious junior because allies beat fans. You seed a narrative today that explains tomorrow's decisive move. None of this requires cruelty. It requires clarity. Morality is a costume people wear to feel safe on stage. Off stage, outcomes obey pressure. So here is your first clean choice. Will you keep begging the wind to be fair, or will you learn to set your sails? You are not becoming heartless. You are becoming responsible for results. When kindness helps results, use it. When patience helps results, use it. When silence protects results, use it. Win first. Be thanked later. Appear good. Move free. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. You were told that clean hands win. Keep your record pure, your tone gentle, your intentions clear, and the world will open. But when purity becomes your shield, you stop moving. You hesitate to ask for the raise because it might seem greedy. You let a teammate take credit because conflict feels ugly. You stay in a draining relationship because leaving would hurt someone. Clean hands, empty hands. The comfort is real. The cost is outcomes you never touch. Purity is attractive because it cancels risk. If you never cut, you never bleed. If you never ask, you cannot be denied. If you never set a boundary, you never have to enforce it. Fear borrows virtue's voice and tells you to be nice. You confuse approval with progress and politeness with peace. Peace does not come from saying, "It's okay," when it is not. Peace comes from power options you can use, leverage you can bring, alternatives you can deploy on command. Look at any arena where results are decided. There is a stage and a back room. On the stage, faces soften and words glow. Fairness, community, empathy. In the back room, numbers decide, alliances shift, reputations are engineered. Winners understand both rooms. They perform kindness in public and bargain hard in private. They are not villains, they are realists. They know audiences bless images while outcomes obey pressure. They dress well for the stage, then count votes with the door closed. In the office, the theater is smooth. A manager posts about empowering every voice, then awards the crucial project to the person who already secured outside support. A colleague praises collaboration, then books quiet, one-on-ones with decision-makers before the meeting. The team player smiles. The strategist collects signatures. On social media, the theater is loud. Influencers declare solidarity, then sell scarcity. They preach authenticity, then time confessions for maximum engagement. In dating, profiles shout, "Ready for something real," while calendars say, "Only when convenient." Separate image from intent. Stop treating a soft tone like a contract. A gentle mission statement is not a binding clause. Read the mask, but audit the moves. Ask, who gains? Who decides? Who benefits if I wait? Track calendars, not captions. Count favors, not likes. When you measure, illusions shrink. The smile stays pleasant, but it no longer hypnotizes you. You enjoy the show while negotiating your seat, your stake, and your timing. Now the tax on naivety. Start with missed promotions. You did the work and expected the work to speak. It whispered, someone else told your story. First risks softened, wins highlighted, allies gathered. You walked in with a product. They walked in with a coalition. Their deck was average. Their support was not. You blamed office politics. Politics is human nature with an agenda, and you chose not to learn its grammar. The tax appears as someone else's name on what you built. Consider relationships. You gave until empty, believing love would total the bill and pay you back with loyalty. But love is also timing, incentives, and status. When you avoid self-respect to avoid friction, you self-erase. You become a reliable background. The safe harbor is always open. The person who sets standards becomes magnetic because boundaries imply value. You remain available. They remain compelling. The tax is quiet resentment, overthinking, and weekends waiting for a text that never comes. Think about information. You assume leaders will be transparent. They will not less from malice than from strategy. Uncertainty is leverage. If you wait to ask hard questions, you wait to know. Budgets shift, windows close, flights leave. You pay with rushed choices and late nights. The tax is anxiety, constant firefighting, because you refused to read the weather when the clouds were still gentle and the path still dry. Add it up. How many times did you stay silent to protect your image? How much did it cost? Money, time, respect, attraction. This is not a war on kindness. It is an audit. Numbers do not hate you. They ignore you until you introduce pressure. You can keep feeding them wishes, or you can feed them strategy. Wishes keep you warm. Strategy gets you fed. Warmth is for comfort. Strategy is for outcomes. What replaces the illusion is not cruelty, it is a craft. Keep your values, but stop outsourcing your outcomes to them. Use the stage when it helps your position. Work the back room where results are set. Maintain a reputation for fairness, because reputation lowers resistance. And keep records, receipts, and options, because options decide terms. When someone uses empathy to box you in, widen the frame data, timelines, goals. When a request arrives without reciprocity, respond with conditions, not apologies. Craft looks ordinary. Before review season, circulate evidence of impact to the right people. Before a negotiation, secure alternatives so no becomes a door, not a wall. Before a hard conversation, gather facts and allies so you do not walk in alone. In dating, state standards simply and keep distance when they are ignored. In friendships, match energy and guard time. Pleasant in public, exact in private, consistent in both. Appearance buys you space. Preparation builds your future. You can be generous without becoming bait, patient without becoming a doormat, honest without handing your weak points to those mapping your limits. Keep appearances clean because they protect your moves. Keep your moves sharp because they protect your future. The world does not punish morality, it ignores naivete. Indifference is colder than cruelty because it never apologizes and never returns what you surrendered. This is the turn. Stop waiting for fairness to choose you. Choose yourself with preparation and timing. Seek applause when applause multiplies your results. Seek results when results secure your life. Be easy to praise and impossible to play. Everyone sees what you appear to be, so make the appearance useful while the reality grows strong behind the curtain. Choose craft over comfort. Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. You want to believe you are free. You say you decide, you choose, you steer, yet your steps bend toward the same corners, the safe chair in the meeting, the soft reply in a hard conversation, the apology you did not owe. You call it kindness. Often it is fear wearing your nicest shirt. When fear and hunger sit at your council table, strangers can predict your vote before you take your seat. They do not need to threaten you. They only need to arrange the room. The hidden governors are simple. Fear of rejection makes you announce your limits before anyone tests them. Hunger for approval makes you explain your value instead of setting your price. You broadcast your need like a beacon, and that light guides other people's hands. A client hears a tremor and asks for another concession. A date senses you cannot endure silence and makes you work for every text. A boss hears whatever you need and assigns the late tasks to you again. Watch the pattern. When an invitation is vague, you accept to prove you are easy. When a timeline is unfair, you swallow it to keep the mood smooth. When someone with status frowns, your spine melts. None of this requires malice from them. It requires predictability from you. In politics, the predictable become votes. In markets, they become price takers. In love, they become insurance kept on the shelf, within reach, used when convenient. If you want different outcomes, ask a colder question. Where am I easy to move? Approval hunger whispers, please like me now, I will pay later. That debt compounds. People delay decisions because you reward delay with extra effort. They avoid clarity because your discomfort funds their comfort. They keep you guessing because guessing keeps you busy. The lever is inside you. Anyone can pull it. Remove the handle. Stop over-explaining. Stop filling silences. Let others feel the weight of their own choices. Now the second camouflage, more delicate because it flatters you. I'm just a good person. It sounds noble. It often hides cowardice or resentment. Cowardice because you refuse to ask for what you want and call it selflessness. Resentment because you keep a secret ledger of every time you yielded and now expect the world to pay interest. You do not set terms. You wait for gratitude. Gratitude is wind. Sometimes it blows. Often it does not. Notice the costume changes. You decline to negotiate and name it generosity. You avoid direct feedback and call it kindness. You postpone decisions and call it patience. But generosity without boundaries is self-erasure. Kindness without truth is flattery. Patience without a clock is drifting. If you do not admit your price, you will be bought for pennies. If you do not state your line, you will be moved by inches until the map is unrecognizable. Hold the mirror closer. When you say, "I don't care about status," do you truly not care, or are you afraid to be seen wanting it? When you say, "I just want everyone to get along," is it peace you love or conflict you cannot handle? Virtue can be real, and it can also be a mask that lets you stay weak without guilt. If you keep the mask, keep it honestly. I prefer safety to risk. Then build a life where safety pays. If you want power, the mask must come off. Now take the animals inside you and give them jobs. The lion is your force. The fox is your cunning. You have both, though you may have exiled them to please the crowd. The lion is the clean no that arrives on time, not late and angry. It protects the boundary, signs the offer, ends the limbo. One strike, clear and final. Use it when speed decides the contest, when hesitation would turn a cut into a wound. The fox studies patterns, anticipates traps, and rearranges the path, so you rarely need to roar. It asks one more question, waits one more beat, and moves when the odds tilt. Use them together. In a performance review, the fox circulates evidence of impact a month early. The lion names the number. In a negotiation, the fox collects alternatives. The lion sets a deadline. In dating, the fox reads energy and avoids the time waster. The lion ends the almost relationship before it consumes another season. Online, the fox curates what is visible. Offline, the lion builds what is real. This is not mysticism, it is mechanics. Your inner predator is not cruelty, it is decisive agency. Your inner prey is not shameful, it is sensitivity and caution. When the prey scouts, the predator chooses. When the predator secures, the prey rests. If you disown either, outsiders will rent it. They will admire your kindness and fire your ambition. Or they will stage your ambition and sell your kindness as a perk. Own both, and you set the script. Begin with small drills. The next time someone asks for a quick favor, ask what they will drop to make room. When a meeting meanders, bring it to a decision. Yes, no, or a date. When a message arrives at midnight, reply during business hours. You are training the world, and the first student is you. Expect pushback. Systems resist new settings. That is confirmation, not catastrophe. Calm is your tell. Keep it. The fox says little. The lion says less. Your wounds will still whisper. Let them speak without letting them drive. They might not like me. Correct, some will not. Your options will suit you. I might lose this chance. Perhaps. Better to lose one deal than your posture for a year. But I am a good person. Good. Be good by choice, not by fear. When goodness serves results, let it shine. When it undermines results, let it wait. You can revisit mercy after you have secured the roof. The plan is plain. Reduce predictability, increase leverage, integrate force and cunning. You will not become a villain. You will become legible to yourself and less legible to those who would script you. In a world that prizes the mask, keep one. In a world that respects pressure, learn to apply it with restraint. Your shadow is not a dungeon, it is a storeroom. Open it, count the tools, and put them to work. Own the lever before anyone pulls it. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. You did everything right. You covered for the team, shared credit, stayed late, smiled through the strain. You believed the sermon. Loyalty gets rewarded. Fairness protects you. Sincerity is a shield. Then the email arrived. A project you built now carried someone else's name. They thanked the collaborators in public while bargaining against you in private. Your stomach dropped, your jaw locked, and the room blurred like a window in rain. You were not outplayed in skill, you were outplayed. Freeze this frame. The person who preached values taught you their mask, not their moves. They knew the meeting before the meeting, the call before the announcement, the soft yes that strangles a hard no. You stood on the stage, lit by ideals. They counted votes in the dark. It hurts because it was personal only to you. To them, it was positioning. Anger comes first. It lights up your chest like a flare. You replay every generous choice. The praise you gave, the extra hours, the advice you handed over for free. The real becomes a funeral procession for your patience. Then, grief arrives, a heavy quiet. You are not only mourning the loss, you are mourning the story that said losses like this could not happen to good people. That story kept you warm. Now, it keeps you weak. Numbness follows. You wander through a workday that tastes like cardboard. Your messages turn short. Your sleep fractures at 3 a.m. Media. You build speeches in your head, sharp, righteous, devastating. You will expose them, you think. You will make everyone see. But you are crafting theater for the wrong audience. The people who decided already saw what they needed, who had the leverage, who had alternatives, who asked for nothing and thus received it. Listen carefully. Your pain is not a failure, it is a signal. It tells you where you bet on morality to enforce the rules and forgot to enforce your own. Validate it, then direct it. The point is not to become cruel. The point is to stop being edible. When a system rewards pressure, bring pressure. When a game rewards options, build options. When a room rewards silence, hold the silence and wait. Now, the death of the old self. The nice, the loyal, the always fair, is a costume that fit in school and sermons. In the street, it turns you into safe furniture. You feared that if you said no, you'd be excluded. You feared that if you asked for more, you'd be punished. You feared that if you named your price, they'd laugh. So you hid your sharpness like contraband. You carried your power like a secret you were ashamed to own. Let that character die, not with a tantrum, with a ritual. Write down what that version of you protected. Harmony, approval, predictability. Thank you. Then write down what it cost. Stalled raises, delayed decisions, lopsided love, the ache of being needed but not valued. Burn the ledger. You are not required to be the hero of someone else's story. You are required to be the governor of your own. You worry that changing means becoming fake. No, it means becoming strategic. Appearances are not lies. They are tools. Reputation is not vanity. It is currency. You can be honest and still choose timing. You can be kind and still choose terms. You can be fair and still choose yourself. The old self wanted to be chosen because of goodness. The new self chooses positions that make goodness sustainable. Grief resists this. It asks for revenge, for spectacle, for the cleansing pleasure of burning bridges. Resist that too. Bitterness feels like iron, but it bends you into a shape that fits only the past. Lucidity is colder and kinder. It asks, what did this teach me about leverage, about alliances, about evidence? What will I do differently by Monday? When the next announcement drops, whose name will be on it? And what did I secure in writing before the confetti fell? Clarity is not cynicism. Cynicism says nothing matters, so grab whatever you can. Clarity says outcomes matter, so prepare whatever you must. One rots you from the inside, the other hardens you without hollowing you. Choose steel with a conscience. Set limits you do not break. No harm to innocence. No illegal moves. No promises you do not intend to keep. Inside those lines, move freely. Practice the turn. The next time credit is divided, arrive with a brief that lists your contributions and the metrics no one can dispute. The next time someone vague schedules you, answer with 2 precise options and a deadline. The next time a partner wobbles, ask clean questions and decide based on answers, not hope. You are not punishing anyone. You are protecting the work that carries your name and the peace that lets you sleep. Remember, Fortuna is not an apology. She is a storm. Build breakwaters, savings, skills that travel, allies outside one gatekeeper's mood. Raise the ground, documentation, receipts, quiet power. Become the person whose exit would be costly, not because you threaten, but because reality testifies. People respect what they cannot cheaply replace. To the part of you that still wants the old promise, be good, and you will be safe. I will not mock you. You kept tenderness alive in a hard world. Keep it, but do not let it drive. Let it ride beside you, seat-belted, while the driver is a calmer thing, a strategist with a steady pulse. You will not lift your voice as often. You will not explain as much. You will let silence carry water. You will act, and then you will let the action speak. When you think of the one who betrayed you, do not pray for their downfall. That keeps you tied to their weather. Pray for distance. Pray for competence. Pray for the strength to become unplayable. The most elegant revenge is a life that cannot be cheaply manipulated, a name that opens doors because you built the hinges, a face that smiles because you own your time. You are allowed to grieve. You are not allowed to stay naive. Break the old mask and keep the face. Keep the warmth, lose the weakness. Keep the fairness, add the force. Keep the loyalty, tie it to reciprocity. When you stand again, and you will stand like someone who knows the difference between being seen and being used. Let the old mask die. Let the ruler rise. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. You believed it was love because it felt warm. Attention arrived on schedule. Words landed like blankets. And your name was spoken with a soft glow. A friend called every night during their breakup. A boss praised you when the quarter dipped. A partner adored you when your sudden scarcity made their world feel urgent. It looked like devotion. Often it was gravity interests pulled toward the nearest mass. This is not an insult to human nature. It is the manual. People move toward security, status, and novelty. They choose what lowers risk, raises rank, or lights the mind. Call it what it is. Alignment, not angels. Interests, not angels. The colleague who believed in you believed in your reliability when deadlines crushed the floor. The mentor who saw your potential saw their legacy reflected in your loyalty. The lover who needed only you needed the role you completed. Safe harbor, trophy, adventure, or mirror. When incentives changed, new manager, new audience, new thrill, the vector turned. They did not hate you. They obeyed calculations. And so did you, many times. When you chose the team with clearer leadership, the friend who kept promises, the partner who matched your pace, detach from the drama. Read the math. If you want steadier bonds, engineer incentives that align without pretending motives are pure. In friendships, build reciprocity measured in acts, not adjectives. Help moving, introductions, skill swaps, shared projects. In work, define value anyone can audit. Revenue produced, risk reduced, retention improved. In romance, install standards that create gravity, self-respect, a healthy scarcity of your time, and the ability to walk. People stay where staying pays in dignity and results. No halos required. Now the mask works, signaling over substance. Tribes, teams, and couples reward signals because signals are cheap and public. Words travel farther and faster than facts. A teammate posts about radical transparency, then dodges every hard metric. Applause follows. An influencer cries on camera about boundaries, then sells urgency at midnight. The tears trend. A date declares they crave depth, then ghosts. When your standards arrive with calendar invites, the declaration still collects sympathy. Signals win impressions. Substance wins outcomes. Decode the costume. When someone narrates virtue, ask what the narration costs them. If the price is nothing, treat it as smoke. Track behaviors that carry cost. Showing up on time. Introducing you when it benefits them less. Defending you when it could cost points. Putting money and minutes where the mouth is. The signal is the mask. The cost is the face. Curate your own appearance, yes, but judge others by the hand. What do they build? What do they maintain when no audience is present? What do they repair after they break it? Manage your signals with intent. If you are competent and invisible, the room writes a simpler story about you. Helpful, replaceable. Make the right things easy to see. Publish the result, not the struggle. Speak the metric, not the mood. Be gracious in public while assembling leverage in private. When signal and substance match, doors open without drama because the plot is clear. This person delivers, and the record proves it. Finally, move from romance to alliance. This is not the death of warmth. It is how warmth survives. Alliances are alignments of interest that respect limits. They do not promise forever. They promise terms. In work, name deliverables, timelines, escalation paths, and what happens if priorities change. In friendship, name rules of engagement, how you handle conflict, money, and time. In love, state standards early and repeat them softly. Exclusivity, effort, repair after rupture, and consequences when those standards are ignored. Alliances thrive because expectations are explicit and enforcement is calm. Examples are plain. You stop saying, "We're like family at the office," and start saying, "We're a team with goals." Then you write the goals. You stop promising endless availability to friends and start curating rituals that keep the bond alive. Monthly dinners, shared training, co-building something that matters. You stop begging partners to guess your needs and show them the playbook. If they reject the game, you stop playing, not with rage, with respect for your time. There is dignity in this realism. You do not need to hate the past to rewrite it. You loved as you understood love. Others gave what they could under their incentives. Now you will seat incentives at the table, name them out loud, and design against chaos. You will still be generous. You will still be loyal. But your generosity will have edges, and your loyalty will be matched. Where signals once fooled you, substance will guide you. Where scarcity once trapped you, created value will keep you free. Where fantasy once wrote the script, terms will write the piece. Open your eyes without closing your heart. Call things by their real names. If it was utility, say utility. If it was timing, say timing. If it was signaling, say show. If it was scarcity, say hunger. Then build relationships that survive those wins by giving each one a keel. The game is not love versus strategy. The game is love protected by strategy. Respect the signal, reward the substance. Steal first, smile later. Position before morals. You do not pledge values to the board before you know the votes. You do not promise loyalty to a partner before you know your options. You do not announce purity before you map the terrain. On any board, the pieces with mobility write the rules. Your first duty is position, scarcity, information, and alternatives. Scarcity means your time and skill are not common. Information means you see 2 moves ahead and know who cannot afford delay. Alternatives mean you can walk without begging. With those 3, your voice weighs more than your words. Build that posture fast. Reduce cheap availability, set office hours, and keep them. Send the brief before saying sure. Convert favors into tokens you can redeem. Track what matters before the game is called. Metrics, endorsements, proof of impact. Gather pre-commitments quietly. Who will sign? Who will abstain? Who will oppose? If the answer is unclear, delay the public move. Position is the difference between morality as sermon and morality as luxury. Next, appear good, operate free. Reputation lowers resistance, freedom wins outcomes. Keep both. People judge by the eye, so keep the eye satisfied. Punctual, prepared, measured. Let paperwork carry the sharp edges. Use procedures as shields and scalpels. Plausible deniability is structuring choices, so the record reads clean, while reality stays flexible. Delegate execution downward, escalate principles upward, and distribute decision trails so no single cut bleeds your name. Examples: you need to exit a deal without noise. Announce a strategic review that widens the frame to costs and focus. The process becomes a bad cop. You need hard feedback delivered. Give your lieutenant the mandate. You reserve the reconciliation. You need room to negotiate. Create committees that absorb delay while you secure alternatives. In public, affirm values. In private, adjust levers. Keep calendars clean, emails brief, agreements specific. The brand smiles, the hand turns the wheel, the fox and the lion in practice. Charm when access is scarce, confront when drift is expensive. Delay when the fog hides traps, strike when time is the weapon. Charm. Before we lock details, help me understand your win. You map motives. Let's pilot for 2 weeks. You learn in small bets. I want your name on this. You borrow status and create debt. Charm is reconnaissance in velvet. Confront. We can proceed at X, or we can pause. Decide by Wednesday. You set a fork and a clock. This violates the terms we agreed to. Here is the clause. You bring receipts, not volume. If the scope expands, price adjusts. You anchor reality and invite a choice. Delay. When emotion spikes. When data is thin. When rivals overextend. Ask for written summaries. Request a second comparison. Schedule decisions after weekends so adrenaline drains and arithmetic returns. Strike. When your alternative is solid, when your sponsor is present, when the window is narrow, move first with a full packet numbers. Risks, mitigation. Announce decisions in a room already tallied. One clean cut beats many small slices. Managing Fortuna. Treat luck like weather. You cannot stop rain, but you can raise the ground. Buffers make you brave. Build savings that buy 6 months of quiet. Learn skills that travel across industries. Grow networks horizontally, not just upward. Optionality is not disloyalty. It is insurance against one gatekeeper's mood. Redundancy looks boring and feels powerful. Keep parallel channels for the same outcome. Backup documents so your value is legible in a crisis. Keep a second map for bad weather. If plan A dies, who calls you to life? Wealth is choices in time. Cultivate the ability to wait. Luck also favors rhythm. Set a weekly cadence for outbound opportunities. 3 intros requested, 2 offers explored, 1 skill leveled. Small motion compounds. When nothing moves, move something you can control: your craft, your pipeline, your presentation. Minimal ethics, maximal results. Without guardrails, power corrodes judgment. Choose lines you do not cross. No harm to innocence, no illegal acts, no promises you cannot keep. They are safety rails for speed. They preserve sleep and reputation. State them to yourself and a few allies. If a tactic requires secrecy from everyone, including your future self, it is rot. Drop it. Inside the rails, be decisive. Document agreements, then act as if they are real. Most conflict is unresolved arithmetic, numbers never written, roles never clarified. Put the math on paper. If someone resists clarity, that resistance is data. Reduce your exposure and widen your options. Train your tells. Fear shows as over-explaining, rushing to yes, or filling silences. Pride shows as inflexibility. When you feel either, switch animals. If fear rises, borrow the lion and make a small, irreversible cut. End the call, set the deadline, decline the invite. If pride swells, borrow the fox. Ask one more question, gather one more fact, walk once around the block. Power is not a mood, it is a method. In modern life, this looks simple. Publish an internal memo summarizing impact with links, not adjectives. Keep an options list on your desk. Jobs, clients, projects you could open within 30 days. Manage your digital face. Let your visible work be the best half of your reality. Run monthly audits, money, pipeline, relationships, who owes what expires soon, what must end, what must begin. Practice grace with intent. When kindness earns loyalty, be generous. When patience earns position, be still. When mercy earns chaos, be brief. Say less in rooms that collect gossip. Say more in rooms that record minutes. Share credit in public to lower resistance. Keep track in private to price your next move. Let reputation open doors. Let preparation walk through them. This is winning without morality, not cruel, not loud, not theatrical. Do not ask virtue to do the work of leverage. Build leverage and let virtue ride safely on top. Wear a clean mask. Carry a sharp tool. Plan in daylight and move, when required, in shadow. If the weather breaks, you have a roof. If the road closes, you have a map. If the room turns, you have a door. Meet your shadow, shake its hand, and put it to work. The fox scouts. The lion decides. You appear good, and you move free. You keep your soul by keeping your word, and you keep your power by choosing when to speak it. Strategy first. Optics managed. Ethics chosen, not assumed. Then you step forward and collect what you came for. Position first, then mercy. Peace arrives when your plans are sharper than your fears. You stop begging the weather to be kind and start building a roof. You draw the map, stock the boat, set the watch. The noise in your chest lowers, not because the world softened, but because you hardened without closing your heart. You sleep because contingencies sit beside your pillow. This is not coldness. It is care, disciplined into routine. The quiet mind of the strategist is built in daylight. You choose aims, number steps, assign allies their parts before the curtain rises. You keep lists that breathe, cash buffers, exit routes, second suppliers, a short bench of people who answer on the first ring. You check them weekly, brief, steady, unemotional. When rumor rolls in, you do not flinch. You open the folder, pull the lever, and the machine hums. Peace is not a prayer. It is repetition so consistent it looks like luck to outsiders. Apply this everywhere. At work, publish impact before review season, so no one needs to guess. In life, automate the boring bills, backups, workouts, sleep, so the important thing stays bright. In relationships, say what you are building and what is non-negotiable, early and calmly. Clarity is a security system. It keeps thieves of time and will outside your gates, and it keeps your compassion safe inside them. Now, generosity as strategy, not theater. Give where giving compounds, where gratitude converts to reliability, where one act plants many harvests. Mentor the eager, because skill you grow returns as loyalty later. Tip information to allies, because information returns as early warnings. Share credit in public, because reputations remember who opened doors. None of this is flattery. It is engineering stability built with human brick. Withhold when giving feeds chaos. Do not fund irresponsibility to feel noble. Do not soften boundaries to avoid a sigh. Donate to causes you can audit. Help friends who help themselves. Be warm, but not wool. People who value you will welcome the fence and meet you at the gate. People who only value access will seek another pasture. Let them. Fields left uncontrolled turn to mud. Let kindness serve a plan. When a teammate stumbles once, cover and teach. When they stumble by habit, redesign the role or replace it. When a partner breaks a rule, repair together. When they break it again, enforce the consequence you promised. Mercy without memory is theater. Mercy with boundaries is leadership. Keep a generous heart, a guarded calendar, and a word protected by steel. Finally, build a life you can defend. In public, let reputation work ahead of you like a herald. Punctual, prepared, fair, capable of the hard yes and the clean no. In private, let the truth be even stronger. You did the work you claimed, refused shortcuts that rot the floor, kept your hands steady when no one watched. Reputation protects you from mobs. Truth protects you from mirrors. Together, they let you walk without disguise. Defense is not noise and threats. It is records and results. Keep receipts for value delivered. Keep copies of terms agreed. Keep an archive of praise and a ledger of lessons. If challenged, do not shout, produce. If slandered, do not tweet, outlast. Noise burns fast. Paper endures. Rooms learn that moving against you is expensive, not because you rage, but because reality testifies. You need not be a villain to win. Be clear, consistent, and prepared. Do not hate the moral words. Simply refuse to starve while reciting them. Choose calm moves over speeches, quiet pressure over pleading, patient accumulation over desperate grabs. Leave meetings with fewer promises and more control, with fewer doubts and more sleep. Take the oath. Plans before pleas, boundaries before bargains, records before rhetoric. Let your face be kind and your spine be iron. When storms gather, you have a roof. When rumors spread, you have receipts. When choices come, you have options. That is peace, not an accident, but a posture you maintain and a method you practice. Clarity first, then calm.